Welcome aboard, fellow enthusiasts, as we embark on another incredible video. Greetings, viewers. Get ready to immerse yourself in the world of Leeds Tykes in this video. Leeds Tykes, formerly Leeds RUFC, Leeds Carnegie and Yorkshire. Carnegie is an English rugby union club in Leeds, West Yorkshire, England, playing in the National League Two North. The club was founded as Headingley FC, but renamed in 1991 when it joined with Roundhay RUFC to form Leeds RUFC. In 1998, the club merged with Leeds Rhinos to form Leeds Rugby Limited, also known as Leeds Tykes. In 2007, Leeds Metropolitan University bought a 51% stake in the club and changed the name to fit with the university's sport department, Carnegie College. At the end of the season, ownership of the club passed back into the hands of Leeds Rugby. They are now called Leeds Tykes. Leeds have bounced between the Premiership and the second-level National Division 1, now known as the RFU Championship. They were either promoted or relegated in 4 consecutive seasons starting in 2006. Leeds were relegated from the Premiership as bottom finishers in 2006, promoted as National Division 1 champions in 2007, relegated again from the Premiership in 2008, and promoted a second time as National Division 1 champions in 2009. They managed to stay in the Premiership in the season, which helped to secure their financial future. From the season, they became a full shareholder in Premier Rugby, the company behind the Premiership. They only received 60% of a full share of Premiership revenues. Their P shares in Premiership Rugby were sold to Exeter Chiefs in 2012. In the following segment, we'll be examining Headingley and Roundhay in greater detail. Headingley has a tradition of rugby that started back in 1877, when several youngsters became interested in rugby after watching Leeds St John's, later to become the Leeds Rhinos rugby league team. Their first game was in November against the Saints' second team. Union was centred around a church club. The original rugby union team was Leeds St John's, and it played at the Militia Barracks ground before moving to Cardigan Fields. The Headingley name was adopted in 1878 and Cardigan Fields was used for both rugby and cricket. On 5 January 1884, England played Wales there and won with a crowd in the region of 2,000 in attendance. The club playing there was then disbanded but was reformed again in 1885 under the auspices of the Headingley Hill Chapel Sunday class and played matches on local fields against local teams, including Roundhay. In 1888, the Cardigan estate was sold at auction and Lot Ear was purchased by a group of Leeds citizens, who intended to form the city's leading sports club. Lot Ear became what is now Headingley Stadium. Leeds St John's played their final season under that name before becoming the football section of Leeds Cricket, Football and Athletic Company Limited the following season. With Headingley still being completed, Leeds' first game was staged at Cardigan Fields, the home side defeating Otley. The first game at Headingley was played on 20 September 1890, when Manningham were beaten by 1 try and 1 dropped goal to 0. Leeds were founder members of the Northern Union when it broke away from the Rugby Football Union in 1895. Leeds' debut in the Northern Union was a victory at Leigh on 7 September 1895, the inaugural day of the new competition. The development of the playing fields into the Headingley ground was down to Lord Hawke, who was also behind the creation of the Leeds Cricket, Football and Athletic Company and the purchase of Lot Ear of the Cardigan estate. Lord Hawke captained England and Yorkshire at cricket. However, this saw the demise of the Leeds club, which split into 2. The part that was to become the Rugby League club in 1895-6 stayed at the Headingley ground and Headingley RUFC was reborn in 1891, eventually finishing up in 1902 in Clarence Fields, Kirkstall. 2 other internationals were played in Leeds before the split between Union and League against Ireland and Scotland, both ending in defeat. In 1889, Headingley was disbanded when Leeds St John's moved into the area, built Headingley Rugby Stadium and dropped the St John's from their name. However, Headingley bounced back and found fixtures outside Yorkshire. In 1901 their fixture list including a game against the famous Blackheath Rugby Club. Roundhay were formed in 1924 and moved to their ground at Chandos Park in the Urs. 40 internationals have played for one team or the other, perhaps the best known being Peter Winterbottom, Ian McGeechan and Chris Ray, who played for Headingley. Former Scotland coach Frank Haddon also had a spell at Headingley, where his and McGeechan's playing paths crossed at the tail end of his career. Brian Moore played for Roundhay before his move to Nottingham and selection for England. Let's now shift gears and explore Headingley honours through a critical lens, uncovering its strengths and weaknesses. Langholm Sevens. Champions to 1968-1971. Headingley was the first English team to win the Langholm Sevens. Moving on to the next segment, we have Leeds RUFC. Leeds RUFC was founded in 1991 after the merger of Roundhay and Headingley. Morley RFC was also invited to join but declined. The new club played their first match on 1 September 1992 against Hullionians. The first try was scored by Glyn Thompson, previously of Roundhay. Richard Cardus, Bev DeVay, Dennis Wilkins and Keith Smith all won international caps while in the Roundhay ranks. Smith featured in England's first full tour of Australia in 1975, but had to return home injured, and Wilkins, who was also in the Royal Navy, won 13 caps between 1951 and 1953. When they amalgamated both clubs were in National Division 3. In the first season in National 3, Leeds finished 6th, but league reorganisation put the club in National Division 4, with finishes of 6th, 6th and 5th in. The following season, they finished 3rd, scoring 1,209 points in 30 games, with the former Englander outside half Jerry Ainscough scoring 307 points, and the ex-Scotlander utility back Mark Appleson scoring 16 tries. They were promoted from the newly formed Division 1 to Premiership 2, finishing runners-up to Worcester. The Tongan Satiki Tupulotu scored a then-club record 322 points. Let's zoom in on Leeds Tykes and understand its implications. In 1998, the club amalgamated with Leeds Rhinos to form Leeds Rugby Limited. Leeds RUFC took on a new name when they entered the 1998 Premiership 2 competition, Leeds Tykes. The Tykes finished 6th in their first season in Premiership 2 with the Tongans scoring 250 points and Simon Middleton and Jonathan Scales scoring 10 tries apiece. Since 1996, the Tykes have played at Leeds Rhinos Headingley Stadium and Phil Davies became their player coach. In their first season, they finished 8th in a 12-team division. They were promoted to the Premiership in 2001. In gaining promotion, Richard Labaz scored 337 points and Graham Mackay, a product of Leeds Rhinos, scored 19 tries. Both club season records are still extant. In 2001, Tom Palmer became the first Leeds Tykes player to be capped for England when he appeared as a replacement against the United States. The Leeds Tykes team for their first game in the Premiership on 2 September 2001 against Bath was Shelley, Holt, Ring, Celsius, Murphy, Palmer, Mather, Ponton, Fizanotti, Benton, Backup, Emerson, Wolf, Mayer, Scarborough, Benson. The replacements were Hogg for Mather 74, Davies for Fizanotti 75, Kerr for Fizanotti 26, O'Reilly for Mayer 73, Fizanotti for Kerr 33. Not used were Luffman, Clark, Labaz. The Tykes survived their first season after finishing bottom of the league when the National League One champions were denied entry into the Premiership in 2002. Champions Rotherham Titans were refused promotion to the Zurich Premiership for the season due to facilities failing to meet Premiership criteria. The next season Leeds finished 5th in the table and made their Heineken Cup debut in December 2003. In their 4 seasons in the Zurich Premiership, they finished an average 9th and reached 2 domestic cup semi-finals. In 2005, they were mid-table by early November, but at the turn of the year, following injuries to key players, they were bottom of the Zurich Premiership and some way adrift of their rivals. Despite the threat of relegation, they made it to their first Powergen Cup final. They faced Bath, who were top of the table and had never been beaten in a cup final, winning to claim their first trophy. Following the cup win, they won 5 straight games and avoided the drop by finishing 8th. Phil Davies relinquished control of some coaching duties to concentrate on his role as director of rugby in 2005 following another poor start to the season which saw the Tykes lose their first 8 games in 3 different competitions. After losing 3 successive away matches in injury time to Northampton Saints, Sale Sharks and Leicester Tigers, in January 2006 former Rugby League international Daryl Powell was promoted from the backroom staff to first-team coach. Leeds were finally relegated after Newcastle Falcons beat Sale Sharks. Following relegation, Marshall was transfer listed by request and Mike Shelley announced his retirement. Other players who left were Ian Balshaw, Chris Bell, Gordon Bullock, Danny Kerr, Andy Craig, David Doherty, Dan Hyde, Mark McMillan, Tom Pommer, Richard Parks, Roland Reed, Gordon Ross, David Rees, Roland DeMarini, Scott Morgan, Chris Murphy and Nathan Thomas. Players who remained at club were Tom Biggs, Lee Blackett, Michael Cusack, John Dunbar, Stuart Hooper, James Isaacson, Chris Jones, Rob Rawlinson and Rob Vickerman. At the end of April 2006, Phil Davies resigned as Director of Rugby to be replaced by Academy coach Stuart Lancaster. The new players signed for the new season under Lancaster were Lee Hinton from Newport Gwent Dragons, Leinster centre Johnny Hepworth, wing full-back Richard Welding from Cornish Pirates, scrum half Jacob Rawiney ex-Earth Titans and Bristol, scrum half Darren Edwards from London Irish, winger John Holtby from Earth Titans, and centre Anatolia Tuigi, on loan from Leicester Tigers. New forwards include flanker Mark Locke from London Wasps, Argentinians and ex-Plymouth Albion flanker Martin Shusterman, former Bristol Rugby No. 8 Rhys Oakley from Newport Gwent Dragons, hooker James Parks from Gloucester and props United States of America international Mike McDonald, ex-Worcester who helped the Eagles to qualify for the World Cup, and Colin Noon from Biarritz. Brace yourself for an enlightening exploration of Leeds Carnegie RUFC as we dive into its profound implications. In 2007, the club was renamed as Leeds Carnegie in a deal with Leeds Metropolitan University, which took a 51% stake. Carnegie College is part of the university's sport department. Leeds Director of Rugby Stuart Lancaster said, "I am delighted by the announcement. This is another hugely significant step in our evolution." In 2008, Lancaster left Leeds to take a job at the RFU, replaced by England World Cup winner Neil Back and Andy Key, both of whom were previously on the coaching staff at Leicester Tigers. In May 2009, Leeds Carnegie announced that it had restructured for the Premiership. Leeds Met University returned its 51% stake in Leeds Carnegie and Leeds Rugby retook full control. The restructuring saw former Wales and British and Irish Lions international Gareth Davies join a new board of directors representing the university. Moving ahead, let's uncover the hidden gems within Yorkshire Carnegie and discover their significance. In 2014, the club was rebranded as Yorkshire Carnegie. They also struck a 2-year sponsorship deal with Satsuma Loans at a reported £300,000 sterling per year. In 2019, they announced that the club had lost key investors and that they were looking for new investments. On 9 April 2019, the players and staff were told that as of the start of the season, the club would be returning to part-time status. It was also confirmed the club would rebrand ahead of the season. Now, let's shift our perspective and explore present, return to Leeds Tykes from a different angle. In September 2020, it was confirmed that the club had reverted to the Leeds Tykes ahead of the eventually cancelled National League One season. They will also leave Headingley Stadium and base themselves at the Sycamores, home of West Park Leeds RUFC. However, they intend to still play some games at Headingley. With that being said, let's now move on to the Sycamores. The club based itself at the Sycamores, home of West Park Leeds RUFC ahead of the season. Get ready for an exciting part as we dive into Headingley Rugby Stadium. In July 1998, Leeds RUFC became part of the world's first dual-code rugby partnership, Leeds Rugby Limited, and began playing at Headingley Stadium, home of Leeds Rhinos. Leeds Street Johns, who were later to become Leeds Rugby League Football Club, then Leeds Rhinos, moved to Headingley in 1889 and built Headingley Rugby Stadium. Since then, the stadium has staged more than 40 Rugby League international matches and countless domestic finals. Undersoil heating was installed in 1963 and floodlights in 1966. New changing rooms were added in 1991. On Saturday, 13 August 2005, Headingley hosted back-to-back Union and League games. The Tykes played Edinburgh in a friendly followed by a Super League game between the Rhinos and London. 2006 saw the construction of the Carnegie Stand. Built to replace the old Eastern Terrace, it was opened on 1 September 2006 for the Super League match between Leeds Rhinos and Warrington Wolves. The ground now has a capacity of 22,250. The record attendance at Headingley Rugby Stadium was 40,175 for the Rugby League match between Leeds and Bradford Northern on 21 May 1947. The highest attendance for a Tykes match was against Newcastle Falcons on 27 December 2004, with a crowd of 14,293 at Headingley to see the Falcons take home a victory. In 2006, a new sponsorship deal with Leeds Metropolitan University led to Headingley Stadium being renamed Headingley Carnegie Stadium. In November 2017, it again changed its name to Emerald Headingley Stadium, just after a major rebuilding project started to replace both main pitchside stands, completed in 2019. Leeds Tykes moved out of the ground soon afterwards. It remains the home of the Rhinos. In the next segment, we'll be exploring British and Irish Lions and its implications for our subject matter. The following Leeds players have been selected for the Lions tours while at the club: Jones Spencer 1971, Ian McGeechan 1974 and 1977, Peter Winterbottom 1983, Ian Balshaw 2005. Get ready to immerse yourself in the world of Rugby World Cup as we examine its impact and relevance. The following are players which have represented their countries at the Rugby World Cup whilst playing for Leeds. As we progress through this video, let's shift our attention towards other notable former players and uncover its hidden depths. The following players have played for Leeds and have 10 or more caps for their national side or other significant accomplishments. Now, let's shift our focus to coaching and medical staff and embark on an intellectual exploration of its various dimensions. Director of Rugby, John Callard. With the foundation laid, let's embark on a journey into honours. Yorkshire Cup 3. Winners: 1998, 2006, 2009 National Division 1-3. Champions: Powgen Cup. Champions: 2005 European Shield. Semi-finalists: British and Irish Cup. Runner-up. Brace yourself for an enlightening exploration of statistics and records as we dive into its profound implications. From Leeds Rugby. In the next portion, we'll be immersing ourselves in the realm of league and examining its broader implications. Season plus WDL Fahrenheit at BP Post Notes National League 1 28-9-1 18-635 789 21 59 13th RFU Championship 13-00 13 166 647 1 2.75 12th Relegated RFU Championship 20-11 0 11 475 549 11 11.55.6 RFU Championship 22-12-8 518 547 11.63.6 RFU Championship 2015-05 619 461 158 14.74 second finalist RFU Championship 22-14-08 655 466 189 22.78 third semi-finalist RFU Championship 22-10-1 11 494 462 32 054 6 RFU Championship 23-18-05 700 387 313 084 third RFU Championship 22-13-09 585 480 105 067 fourth RFU Championship 22-13-18 470 505 066 Aviva Premiership 22-40-18 315 597 23 12th relegated Guinness Premiership 22-7-1 283 493 636 10th National Division 1 30-28-02 12-38 376 863 21 133 first promoted Guinness Premiership 22-1 336 732 12 12th relegated National Division 1 30-24 960 474 486 23 123 first promoted Guinness Premiership 22-5-0-17 363 573 828 12th relegated Zurich Premiership 22-9-0-13 380 431 743 8th Zurich Premiership 22-7-1 14 449 588 737 11th Zurich Premiership 22-12-8 478 435 43 658 5th Zurich Premiership 22-6-0-16 406 654 428 12th National Division 1 26-24-0 1032 407 625 116 first promoted National Division 1 26-22-0 792 269 523 144 second National Division 1 26-16-0 10 713 367 346 132 6. Let's zoom in on cuts and understand its implications. Competition plus WDL Fahrenheit and Notes PowerGen Cup 11-5-15 297 274 winners 2005 Heineken Cup 12-5-07 209 213 European Challenge Cup 31-18 830 601 quarter-finalists European Shield 6-1 324 106 semi-finalists. Your feedback helps me improve, so please take a moment to leave a comment or review.